Oh, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. I am one of your co-hosts, Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my other co-host, Marcie.
Hello.
And welcome to our first show of 2024.
Big year, big plans.
Big plans, big year. Yeah, it's exciting. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you had a lovely time celebrating ringing in the new year. I had a pretty chill, low-key one. I just had a couple friends over, hung out with my boyfriend, and yeah, it was nice.
I went to what was supposed to be a chill housewarming party for my best friend's sister's new house. It was still a housewarming party. It was not chill.
Was not chill.
No, you got my New Year's voice notes.
I did, and I was like, oh, I can't really listen to these now, but because I was around a bunch of people, but I did after when I kicked everybody in my house before 12:30 and gone to bed. So
Real.
it was a mission for me to stay up till 12. I was like, it hit 12, and I was like, okay, when is it socially acceptable to start kicking people out of my house so I can go to bed?
I would also say that it's difficult for me to stay up till 12. But
our conversation that we had recording, our conversation that we had before recording. That's what I want to say. It says otherwise.
Yeah, I don't actually think there's been a night since I got back from uni for Christmas that I've not been up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, no, at this point, me and Marcie are just on the same sleep schedule despite being 5 hours apart.
Which works for us.
It works for us in terms of this, but it's just really, really funny.
It's also really not going to do me any favors when I go back for my exams.
No, it is not. Yeah, so we'll start talking about the Leafs though. I think unfortunately we have to talk about them. I was talking about this at work. I was talking to a couple of my friends. I was like, Leafs are they're going into a back-to-back, which one of the games is like a back-to-back with travel. And I said, I was like, they're going to lose both games. And people were like, no, Emma, be positive. Don't stop being so pessimistic about the Leafs. I was like, well, I was right. So for all the people who doubted me and the fact that I said the Leafs were going to probably lose both games and we should expect them to lose both games, suck it. Leafs are now on a 3-game losing streak going into their West Coast road trip. Woot woot. After losing 6-5 to Columbus, which we'll talk about that because we could talk forever about Leafs goaltending. I feel like we talk about every episode now. And 3-2 to Carolina. Where do we start? I guess we could start talking about what actually happened during the Columbus Blue Jackets games, but that also means we're gonna get into a really long-winded conversation about Leafs goaltending. So I think we can start with, Leafs lost 6-5. It was bad. It was all on goaltending. Like, sure, there was a couple goals where you're like, maybe, shouldn't have made this play, whatever. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's on the goaltending. You can't allow 6 goals. Are you kidding?
20 shots.
Yeah, like 9 times out of 10, if your team is scoring 5, you should expect to win.
Yeah,
right?
They should not have lost that.
No, we shouldn't have. But we still did. In overtime.
Yeah, as usual. But it's like, I get, like, I'm all for, like, not blaming the goalie because 9 times out of 10, it's not actually the goalie's fault. But also,
this was on Samsonov.
Yeah, like,
in
the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want to be like, oh, if Wall was still here. But if Wall was still here, we would have won 5-2. It'd have been 5-2 at most.
Yeah, because there was a couple goals for sure, which, like, you don't blame on Samsonov. One of them was just a really bad turnover by David Kampf, which we'll talk about him getting scratched.
Ooh.
Because, again, I always say on this podcast, and I feel like I say this all the time, two things can be true at once, and I think a lot of people in sports, and when it comes to being, as I don't want to say specifically Leafs fans, but I like you see it a lot with Leafs fans. But I think it's also just like a sports fan thing in general. People forget that two things can be true at once. And we'll talk about David Camp getting scratched against Carolina as of a result of him making a play that results in a turnover that then resulted in Columbus's fourth goal. But just like,
it's not good.
You had Auston Matthews, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a thing where it's like a team with Auston Matthews on it should not be this bad, considering the month of December that he's had, where it's what, 50, how many goals and how many? It's like 15 goal. Is it 15 goals in 12 games?
Yeah, it's 15 and 12.
That's insane.
No one should be losing that.
No one should be losing. Nobody should be losing games the way we have when you have Auston Matthews scoring you 15 goals.
I can hear.
So, two things can be true at once here. Like, yes, that goal can be played. Like, you can place goals on poor defensive performance from the Leafs. Sure. But also at the same time, like, scratching David Kampf, you're one of your best penalty killers. Again, your best defensive forward on the penalty kill for a game against a team with a really strong power play is really not the way to go. Like, not the decision I would have made. And I get making an example of players, and you can't. There's not a whole lot of guys on the Leafs who have not been playing great who you could scratch right now. I mean, I guess the only other choice is, scratching Marner, which if you healthy scratch Marner, uproar. Twitter explodes. You can't do that because of how much money he's making. And I mean, Steve Dangle said this in the LFR, which if you want to experience a man yelling for 20 minutes straight, I recommend you watch the last two because
they were.
Yeah, and I don't always agree with what Steve says. In fact, it's a very rare occurrence. But I do agree with him on the points he made about like why scratching David Kampf is like it was not necessarily the best decision in the world. Like I'm not saying it's a bad decision. I'm saying it's not the best decision. I get you have to make an example out of players, but it's also like the way that this team is built, you can't scratch players to make an example out of them. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
it's like everyone, it is literally like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like for everything to work, you'd need to have everyone there. And it's like, scratching someone to be like, this is what happens when you fuck it up.
When you play like shit.
It's like, fair enough, but also maybe don't scratch someone who then goes on to like his lack of presence
is something that led to your team. Like, I'm not going to say like, oh,
it's not like
they lost because David Kampf wasn't there. Like, I'm definitely saying it's probably part of the problem, considering Carolina was scoring on scoring on their power play. Like, there was no and they have a really good power play.
Yeah.
And even when they didn't, I think there was probably one power play where they didn't, like, there was one where they didn't score. They still had a lot of really good chances.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like,
and
you can't be making these mistakes, but you also can't be scratching the players
because of just
that are there.
Yeah, because especially because like because of the way how much the core four, I guess you could probably say core five and include like so I'm thinking like Austin, Mitch, John, William, Morgan, like because of how much those guys are getting paid, scratching one of them is like right, like it's just the way that the Leafs are built. You don't have room for healthy scratches.
No.
In the way that you can with other teams when players aren't playing well.
Yeah, it's
like you can reward guys for sure by moving them up or down the lineup, right? But you can only go so far in demoting them because you can't scratch them, right? Like I definitely think that, Mitch playing with Austin, like as good as it is offensively, like Mitch playing with Austin in the same line 5-on-5 is something that should be reward, right? Like put Nylander back up there.
Yeah, I feel like because he's like Nylander's on an absolute mad one right now.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's like if Keith if Keith's like trying to like make an example out of people that make mistakes, that's in my opinion not the right way to go about it. The right way to go about it is to reward people such as William Nylander, who is just absolutely insane
at
the moment and is putting up like at least a point a night. Like you need, like if he's doing that now, imagine what happens when you put him up with Matthews and Nice.
Oh. Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Maybe it'll result in a win, which
I mean,
we need.
Like okay, well, yes, Leafs like very much started that game against Carolina losing 1-0 already. Like before the puck even dropped, you knew they were going to be down 1-0 because you knew Michael Bunting was going to score in his return to Toronto, because that's the way that like the Leafs have worked like that. It's not like, yeah, we say it as a joke being like, oh, former Leaf legend, right? Oh, he's going to score. But like
he
is. And, we can say it as much as we want as a joke and people can be like, oh, that's not true. But then we get proven right. And Michael Bunting had a great game. He scored really early on a fantastic shot. And just
that goal kind of just set
the tone. Yeah, the tone.
It set the tone of downfall.
Yeah. You're like, oh, well.
Because
I mean, yeah, but anyways, it was great to have Bunting back in Toronto. I will say they made during a TV timeout, they, did a thank you to him on the Jumbotron, and you had a whole thing, like a graphic shown and stuff on the Jumbotron and stuff. And apparently there was boos. I was like, guys, why are we booing Michael Bunting?
Come on.
Like, why are we booing?
I'm not being funny. Why are you booing him now when you were like calling for his head last year?
Like, why are you like cheer for him? Like, I'm gonna say there is not a man who loved being a Leaf more than Michael Bunting.
Oh, he
loved being a Leaf. He's from Scarborough, hometown kid, grew up a Leafs fan, had not the easiest way to make it into the NHL. He spent a lot of time in the AHL and was almost like a lot of people were calling him a career AHLer, but like makes it like, ends up in Toronto, plays on the top line with Austin frickin' Matthews.
It's just
like there's he loved being in Toronto, and I think, like it's not like he didn't want to come back. He definitely did. They just never called him. He said it. They never called him.
Yeah.
And you almost have to wonder, is like part of that to do with the fact that the Leafs fired their GM like 6 weeks before. 6 weeks before the draft and free agency. Who knows? But I'm not the one to comment on that. But it's just like it's definitely, it's something for sure where it's like he is. Anyways, I love Michael Bunting. I really do.
You can't not.
I can't not. No, this is something where I was like, I said this last season. I was saying this all last season. I was like, if Michael Bunting resigns with Toronto, I would buy a Michael Bunting Leafs jersey.
I'm guessing the hockey gods wanted you to save money.
And then I end up buying a Joseph Woll jersey after the
They were looking out for your bank account because
I really hope they don't. Yeah. I really hope they don't do that again, because I've been saying that when William Nylander signs his resigns his contract, that I would buy a like a next gen, like the Justin Bieber like black, like jersey, like a William Nylander one. But
maybe you just like shouldn't.
Maybe I just shouldn't. Yeah, too late. The internet
Might
now.
just be me, but
yeah. But yeah, and also in comments and just a fun little stat to throw out there about David Kampf getting scratched. That ends his 323 consecutive games played streak, which which is something I knew. Like I knew that he had a long consecutive games streak.
Yeah, but saying that also makes me, the reaction picture where it's just it just yells Sheldon. And it's like the angry on fire. That was really mean of him. It's like it's still David Camp. And you're ruining his however many games. 352, 62.
Yeah, 300, which by the way, if you want to know where that puts him in active, just because I feel like we're all curious about that, that would have placed him fourth, well, fifth, depending on if you count Phil Kessel's streak as still active or not. But it would have placed him fifth behind Nick Suzuki. Which is actually surprising, I think. Which is surprising to me that his is that I just thought he got hurt at some point. I thought he was hurt at some point, but he's not. He is. When was? He has not missed games since he came to the Habs, I think. Hold on. Actually, no. I'm definitely
he was injured, like recently.
I know that's the thing where I was like, I definitely remember him missing games at some point. But he was drafted in 2017. But when did he come? Playing career 20. Yeah, he made his NHL. Yeah, he has not missed a game since his debut in 2019, his NHL debut. That's crazy.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Anyways, fun fact. Oh, you want to know who else is on this list? Number 5 on this list I'm looking on at NHLrecords.com. Records.nhl.com. Former Leaf legend Alex Kerfoot, number 5 with 298. I thought he's also one of those guys where I was like, could have sworn he was scratched at some point in the past couple of seasons, but I guess not.
No way has he not been scratched. I said that of like
Sheldon Keefe really had his guys. Sheldon Keefe really had his guys.
Not Sheldon Keefe being a blob all over just like us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, because
no, that how is
I'm literally looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. Number 5, Alex Kerfoot. 298. He has not missed a game since November 30th, 2019.
What? What?
Yeah.
My mind is blown right now.
I know. If you want to know where the first Leaf, like current Leaf, like active Leaf, who's actually on the Leafs roster is, you have to go all the way down to 37 for William Nylander with 129.
Damn.
Yeah. Has not missed a game since May 5th. No, sorry, April 5th. I can read dates, I promise. April 5th, 2022.
Leafs legend.
Hey, that is longer than Sidney Crosby's.
Okay, we're about to open a discussion.
we're about to start something. Anyways, before we keep going down the rabbit hole of that, I just wanted to know where like he ended up in the active, and it was actually pretty high up in the active records because I guess like no one is gonna come close to ever touching Phil Kessel's again, I feel like. But there's a couple of like surprise, like you go through that list and you're like, huh, you're telling me he's never been healthy scratched ever?
That's
Alex Kerfoot, one of those names.
That's genuinely gonna like.
That's one of those things where it's like, that's a funky little thing that you. Anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, I know. What, like, especially I think maybe we're misremembering it because people called for him to be healthy scratched so many times last season with the Leafs that we're like, it definitely happened. But no, it's just people on Twitter being like, scratch Kerfoot and Hall, get them out of this team.
Yeah,
Stop
now
playing them.
I hope you're happy. I hope they're all happy.
They're all happy. He's up there. But yeah, also as well, little Leafs injury update as well, just on Ryan Reeves. I know we had talked about recently just about how the fact that we had heard nothing about his injury and we were like, it's lower body. Turns out he had his kneecap pop out on him while hitting a rut in the ice and could not pop it back in, and hence why he had to leave the game. He said in his quote, in his words, it has happened around 10 times before, and usually he's able to just pop it right back in on the ice. And this stretch of time that he's missing hurt is the most he's had to miss because of that. He said it's from a previous injury, and now sometimes his kneecap just pops out, which is kind of freaky. I went to school with a girl whose knee did that, and her knee would just like randomly like pop out of place like in gym class, and it was kind of gross, and she'd sit there on the floor and like pop it back in, and we'd be like, what the fuck, or what?
Yeah, you just sit there and just like, you're right, and she's like, yeah, I'm just like putting my knee back in place.
Yeah,
no biggie.
And she would say it nonchalantly, and we were all like, whoa, what are you doing, girl? But yeah, so hence what it is. I think hence why like even Sheldon said it was like, oh, it's not as bad as it seemed. But now we at least know what it is. That's kind of cool. Ready to talk about Leafs goaltending and Samsonov getting placed on waivers and everything that followed?
Yeah.
So on Sunday, it was announced that Samsonov was placed on waivers by the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was working.
I just got to my friend's house for like before we went to her family party. So we were like just sat like drinking, and I always if I'm like going out for the night, I always put my phone on do not disturb, because then it's like I can scroll through and see everything that I've missed. So then I'm like, so we're getting ready to leave, and I'm like, oh, I'll just check my phone quickly.
And it's bing, 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 bing.
And the first thing I get is fucking, I think it was like the score, just being like, Samsonov placed on waivers. And I'm like, what?
No, because I was working, so I'm coaching ski racing all during the break. And so I could feel my phone buzzing in my pocket because I keep my phone in like the breast pocket of my jacket, and I could feel it go buzz, 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 buzz. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what it is. It honestly could just be you and Cal going back and forth at it. I'll just pull my phone out. You know, I'm standing at the top of the hill, at the side of the hill, like, you know, my kids, like the group that I was coaching, like we had a course. I was just standing at the top, and I was like, I'll pull my phone out. I'll do a quick check. And the first thing I get across is from Sportsnet, is a Sportsnet notification, because I have the Sportsnet app downloaded. Love the Sportsnet app, by the way. 10 times better, easier to navigate than the NHL app. And you also get baseball scores on there. So I also get my baseball scores on there too.
I don't have the Sportsnet app downloaded.
I love it. Yeah, Sportsnet app is great. Love the Sportsnet app. But and I right across the top, breaking news: Leafs put Samsonov on waivers. And I was coaching one of the girls that I was coaching is like plays hockey. She's a goalie.
Yay.
Yeah, and so we'd been talking about the Leafs all week. Like, you know, we'd be like, you know, watch the game, whatever. We'd been talking about World Juniors and stuff. And I just say to her, I was like, Leafs waive Samsonov, and her jaw dropped. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, they put him on waivers. And we're like, whoa, that's crazy. Because then because like Cal was like online, right? And was like, where's Marcie and Emma? Because we were like MIA, and like Samsonov been placed on waivers, and usually we're like on that. And I was like, I'm working. I can't check my phone. Like I check my phone to like a bajillion notifications.
No, that was
Samsonov's on waivers. He cleared, obviously. And I think, like, there was a lot of people were making jokes being like, oh, someone's going to claim him, whatever. And, whatever. No one, like, no team in their right mind at this point in the season would claim Samsonov with the record that he has, with the save percentage that he has,
yeah.
with the cap hit that he has. No one is that desperate for a body.
No.
No one's that desperate for a body, because it's the same thing as when Jack Campbell got waived. No one's going to do it at this point in the season, because
I still don't like talking about that.
Essentially what you're doing is you're either flipping him for a trade. Again, why would you do that? Or you're taking him on as a rehab assignment, which essentially, like, we'll talk about how this stint, I'm going to call it a stint because that means he's coming back. This stint with the Marlies is essentially a rehab assignment for him, not from an injury, just from whatever shit he's going through and being a bad goaltender. But yeah, so obviously he clears, and then Leafs call up Dennis Hildeby. We talked at length.
We all know my thoughts on it, because I spent a good 2 hours angrily arguing with people on Twitter.
I did see that. Yeah. So here's where, again, this is another situation where two things can be right at once. Having Dennis Hildeby, having him play a considerable length of games at the NHL, I have a feeling may be bad for his development. Yes. But if you are needing him to play one game because it's the second game of the back-to-back, and you can't have, you can't put in 33-year-old third stringer Martin Jones in the second game of a back-to-back against the Anaheim Ducks, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
Right?
And it's like,
I'm fine with him playing a game because it's the second game of a back-to-back and you have literally no other choice. But I don't want him to be up for a considerable amount of time, right? Like, I don't...
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like 2 games at a push, I wouldn't be, like, that mad about, because, like you said, we don't really have a choice. But I keep being like, oh yeah, like, I kept seeing so many people be like, oh yeah, we'll just bring him back until Wall's healthy. And I'm like, that could be up to, like, what, another 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Like if you want to put that into perspective, like, we could be looking at not seeing Wall again until after the All-Star game.
Yeah, which is something where we thought he would be back for the All-Star game.
And I still think he probably will be, but it's going to be, like, cutting it a bit close. So it's like, everyone's like, oh yeah, just keep him up until Wall's healthy. And I'm like, do you really want to have, like, in the nicest way possible, I love him, but Dennis Hildeby is not NHL ready. And do you really want to have him backing up Martin Jones for the next potentially 6 weeks? Like, that's not gonna do any wonders for his confidence, is it?
No, especially, like, also, I know, like, just to, like, taking a look at the Leaf schedule, like, they don't have another back-to-back until February 21st and 22nd, which again is their next West Coast road trip, which also falls after we have this game circled in red on our calendars. It is the February 19th game away versus St. Louis, where we're like, Joseph Woll needs to be back for that game so he can start in St. Louis against his hometown team.
Because I'm so deadly serious when I tell you, if he's not back for that game, I will be on, like, international news. Like, not even just, like, UK news.
Also,
I will be on, like, global headlines.
It also is just truly the best game because it's at 1:00 Eastern.
Yeah, it's at 6:30. It's 6:30 for me. Do you know how good that's gonna be?
The only negative thing about it, though, is it's on a Monday, and I work a 9 to 5 starting this. So like, I guess I'm working from home that day, so I can watch it while I'm working.
I'm just like, I have a countdown for it. Like, because I sent you a message the other day. I was like, it has 50 days.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, please.
But like, if you only need Dennis Hill, like if you only need him to play that one game, because it's the second game of back-to-back, and you have 33-year-old Martin Jones, which I know 33 is not ancient, but like hockey players age differently, and also he's not like a spry young like 25-year-old, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's fine. I think personally, like, it's fine for that one game because, you know, then you aren't necessarily going to be like, then the Leafs are going to have 2 days off before they play Saturday against San Jose. Then they have 2 days off again to play San Jose again at home, because of course the NHL schedules games like that. Of course.
Oh, yeah, they love being nice to us like that.
Of course. And then, you know, then Leafs are like, they have a day off in between games all the way until the week before the All-Star break, where they have 2 days off between games, and then it's the All-Star break, and then Martin Jones is not playing. Apologies to Martin Jones, but he is not going to the All-Star game.
What do you mean? I have Martin Jones down as like
As the
one
Leafs
of the 32
representative.
players named tomorrow.
Aren't they named Thursday? They're named Thursday.
I'm not going. I lose track of what day I'm on now.
Oh, I know. I feel you. But yeah, so again, our thoughts on Dennis Hildeby. But also, talking about Dennis Hill, he is a massive man.
He's huge.
You see him stand next. There's a picture of him standing next to Noah Gregor. Noah Gregor, by the way, who is 6 foot and is not the shortest Leaf on the team. That title belongs to 5'9" Nicholas Robertson.
Yeah.
And he looks tiny. Tiny.
Like,
and
he looks like Cole Caulfield.
Like,
that's how small he looks.
He looks like Cole Caulfield next to a average-sized NHL player.
He looks like Cole Caulfield stood next to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Caulfield's 5'7". Right?
He's listed at 5'8", but then the Montreal Canadiens like team store, like their merch store, did him dirty and listed him as 5'7". You know, when like you buy stuff online and they're like, the model is and is wearing a size, they list him as 5'7".
Yeah, so that's like.
So he added the Mitch Marner 1 inch.
Yeah.
The Mitch Marner of, oh, I'm 5'11 and a half, rounded up to 6.
It's like, oh, 5'11 and a half. No, I think you might need to measure that again. And he just like tiptoes. Yeah. He was like, can I stand any taller?
Yeah, but I would love to see Dennis Hill to be standing next to Nicholas Robertson, because just for prosperity, I would love that picture.
Yeah, just for like science.
Yeah, for research purposes.
I know though. I just want to highlight Hildeby's stats.
Oh yeah, list off
his
stats.
Because
in the AHL, he's
with
still
the Marlies.
Is he still second in save percentage?
I think so.
You list off those stats. You list off those stats. I'll look up the AHL website.
It's barely changed since I last checked, but he's 12 games played, 2.15 goals against average. He's got a 920 save percentage with 2 shutouts, and he's on 7.52. So it's like, I'm not worried about like him personally like not playing well, because evidently he can play well. He is really good. Yeah. And as of last week, when I bought myself a little season package for the Marlies so I can actually watch the games, because I was slowly losing my mind being able to watch like 1 game a month and like on a really shitty stream. So now I get to watch regular games. He's not real. He's just not. But it's like, if his stats are like this in his first season in North America, I personally cannot wait to watch him and Joseph Wall win the Stanley Cup together.
Yeah.
12 games is all I needed to prove it.
Yeah. So also, so he's not second in save percentage. He's second in goals against average in the AHL. The true, absolutely insane goalie though right now in the AHL is Clay Stevenson for the Hershey Bears. In 16 games played, he has a 1.7 goals against average and a 937 save percentage.
Jesus.
I know. He's also a rookie too in the AHL.
Oh my god.
So Capitals have a good one on their hands.
Yeah, please don't fuck him up.
That's the right affiliate, right? Before I say that, and I'm saying the wrong affiliate. Hershey Bears are the Capitals affiliate, right? Yeah. Okay, I'm right. I always like doubt myself because the affiliates change sometimes. Like there's always change all the time. Yeah, so looking ahead at the Leafs schedule for sure. Leafs go on their West Coast road trip starting tonight at 10:30 Eastern. New game.
3:30.
New year.
You're in England?
Yeah. Against the LA Kings. They're in their Justin Bieber jerseys, so expect a loss. And then they play again tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's earlier. Woot woot.
2:30.
Yeah. Against the Anaheim Ducks. So that's fun. And then we'll have our show on Thursday, so I won't talk about Saturday's game. Yeah. Keefe says again he'll make a decision. I don't know if I said this, but he'll make a decision on who will start in net versus Anaheim, depending on how Martin Jones feels about after today's game against LA.
Yeah. That's like the one thing I am slightly worried about is like if we don't play Hildeby much, that means poor Martin Jones.
Yeah.
Is gonna get the overworking experience, which we all know. What happened last time we kept starting one of our goalies and exhausted him to the point of a high ankle sprain? How did that end for us?
I wonder. You know, it's not like I witnessed it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
In person. Never get over that.
That's going to stay with you forever.
Oh, it absolutely will. I mean, I am going to the next Leafs and Sens game in Ottawa. Simon just sent me a picture of our tickets today.
Oh.
So, yeah. Speaking of Ottawa, because we're going to do a quick, I just want to quick note on this as well. Talk about they have officially named their general manager, Steve Staios. Shocker, shocker. Will stay on as Sens GM and president of hockey ops. He was named as their interim GM, so no surprise there. Dave Poulin, Leafs legend, in the front office, joins as senior
Leafs,
VP
in brackets, front office legend.
Yeah, joins as senior vice president of hockey ops, and then Ryan Bonus as associate general manager. Just some fun little admin stuff for the Sens. Thomas Chabot returns to Sens lineup versus Buffalo yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever that game was. And then he was stuck on my art. Like I had to, speaking of, he's on my fantasy team. So I actually had to kick someone off my fantasy team. I kicked off DJ Brody. Sorry, Thomas James.
Did you drop something off?
I did replace him with Carter Hart.
Yeah. I was wondering how long it'd take you to get to the point where it's like, at what point was your belief and faith in him just completely shattered?
Do you want me to answer honestly?
Go for it.
Like 2 months ago.
And
I stuck with him for so long. Do you know how many weeks I could have probably won had I kicked him off and replaced him with someone like Do you know?
So many.
So many. So I've lost so many points to him. You know what his like point total, like collective point total is in our fantasy league? -10. He's the only goalie available in negatives.
No.
Yeah. So I finally replaced him with Carter Hart. It only took me how long? 2 months. If I wasn't answering honestly, I would have told you when he got put on waivers and I was left with no choice because I mean I could have kept him on and then he just would have never started and then I would have just never gotten negative points, but also Carter Hart would probably win me points. I'm like a little bit pissed off that I put it off for a day because no one besides like Seattle and Vegas were playing yesterday and Joey Decord is available in our league.
Oh.
Yeah. But speaking of Joey Decord, a Winter Classic was yesterday.
It was, and I watched it.
Did you watch it? I watched it too. Winter Classic. Seattle beat the Vegas Golden Knights in the Winter Classic yesterday, 3-0, which is the first shutout at a Winter Classic for
Woo!
So congratulations to Joey Decord on that really well game. He played a great game.
It was such a good game.
Seattle played a really great game. Vegas just they couldn't get shots on net. Like it was not great for them. Like not like Seattle played great and made the most of their opportunities. I don't know what it was with Vegas. They just
kind of like fell apart a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I was watching it with my parents because that's what I made them do last year as well. We all sat and watched it.
Watched the Winter Classic.
Yeah. And yeah, it was. I was just there for Joey Decord.
I don't know. I was
By the way, in the last 2 minutes, I have just added him to my fantasy team.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! And when I need to drop Carter Hart because he goes to shit, then what do I do?
Well, then you can bring Samsonov back.
Okay. Look, when we did this draft back in like August, is that when we did it? Yeah, we did it like early August. I thought I had a great goalie tandem with Shesterkin and Samsonov. Okay? I thought I was gonna have a fantastic duo of goaltenders. Why is Jonathan Quick better than Shesterkin?
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, so I watched the Winter Classic with Simon, and he was only watching it really for Leafs legend Ben Hutton, who did not play in the game because he was injured. So
once again, that is so leafy of him.
So leafy of him. Yeah. But also as well, like that game, I was sitting there like during the intermission, I was like, what am I watching? First of all, they get Hart out, which by the way, when I told my mom who was performing during first intermission, she was like, oh, they're old. And then my dad proceeded to look up the age of the lead singer, who, by the way, is like 73. So yeah, if my mother is saying, oh, that band is old, because they were old when I was listening to them.
Old.
You know, old. But they are from Seattle. And then in second intermission, you had Bowie beating up Paul Bissonnette.
Yeah, that and
then Paul Bissonnette goes on to kill Bowie on live TV. But like, what?
Yeah.
And then there's Wayne Gretzky sitting. Like, you're doing all of this in front of Wayne Gretzky.
That's what gets me. It's like you are committing acts of violence
against an NHL mascot in front of Wayne Gretzky.
And you're just okay with that? It was.
That's my favorite thing though, is like the fact that like TNT, like NHL on TNT has hired Paul Bissonnette and Wayne Gretzky to be on the same panel is hilarious to me because they've had two different spectrums of NHL careers.
Very different.
Paul Bissonnette, who I'm pretty sure has only logged one NHL goal or two. And then you have And then you have Wayne Gretzky, who has scored the most goals in the entire NHL with 894.
There's a bit of a difference. I never knew he played 11 games for the Cardiff Devils.
Oh, okay, Biz. But yeah, also as well, Canada got knocked out of the World Juniors today, losing to Czechia 3-2 in the quarterfinals. I'll talk about it. First of all, I'm gonna say it. Don't send death threats to teenagers. Why are you doing that? That's dumb. Don't get mad at them. They're teenagers. I know people are saying, but they're also athletes. They're also like
children.
Teenagers. They're also children. They're also like 19. Would you say that to would you say any, like, people have to think about the fact, I'm like, would you say anything that you're saying to, like, if there's people, because there's people mean on the internet. This is a shout out to people being mean to World Juniors, kids in the World Juniors on the internet. Would you say any of the the shit you're saying? Would you say any of that to actual, like, an actual 19-year-old? Like, if you had a 19-year-old in front of you, would you say any of that to their face?
Chances are.
They're not hockey players. They're not playing in the World Juniors. They're not drafted by an NHL team. They are just a regular 19-year-old kid. Would you say any of that to a 19-year-old kid? I bet you would not. So don't say it to World Juniors players on the internet. Like, you can tell they really cared and they took it to heart, and it was an awful unlucky goal scored with 11 seconds left in regulation. I was watching it on the chair and I was upset. Like, I was skiing and I was like watching it going up the chairlift.
No, I was sat building a Lego set with my mum, and I was like, "Oh, let's watch the rest of," because I was watching the game, and then she was like, "Do you want to build Lego?" So I'm like, she also wanted to build a Lego with me, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, we can watch the rest of the Canada game." And she was like, "Oh, cool." So it hits like the last 30 seconds, and I'm like, no, I think it was like the last minute. And I was like, right, we need to just stop building and just watch the last minute. And like, because she's not watched any of the games yet. She's only watched like what I've shown her. And when I tell you the silence in that kitchen was deafening.
I was going up the chair with 3 other people who could not give a shit about the game, like, could not care, and I was sitting there like almost I was like, no, can't believe it, they lost. I feel
I
like
spent a good 5 minutes just head in my hands, and then I was like, oh, and then my dad walked in and he's like, are you all right? And I'm like, Canada just lost. And then my mum just kind of turns to him and just goes, just don't say anything.
Yeah, just
and then I showed her the picture of Minton looking like a sad.
It's the media, like, it's the media that they do afterwards, and like some of the things that Fraser Minton said, I was reading over them at lunch, when I was eating lunch, and I was just like, oh god, Nins. Like, because he's, that was, and anyways, just
it's like, imagine being really excited to be captain.
First time representing your country on the world stage, like first time representing Canada in any capacity, named captain. Ugh.
Like, I hope he's getting.
I hope he's
constant hugs.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Lots of hugs, and he's staying off of social media. Like,
oh yeah, I hope he doesn't touch the internet.
Don't touch the internet.
A long time.
Yeah, until forever.
Take a leaf out of Joseph Hall's book. and like,
delete. No, okay. Fraser Mitten's Instagram is how we got that picture of him and Nyes in the cowboy getup. So
okay, maybe please don't. Maybe you should post more happy memories.
Yeah, for sure. So, and also in the quarterfinals as well, just an update. Slovakia lost to Finland. Latvia lost to the US, no surprise there. And Switzerland lost to Sweden. With some interesting ref decisions made there. If you want to, just see how people are reacting, check out Grandma Doobie's Twitter. She's great. Great follow on Twitter, by the way. Grandma Doobie, who is Kyle Dubas's grandmother. She's great. Do you have a couple of things to say? Because Marcie actually was the one to write out our list of topics for today's episode.
I did work for once.
I know, it's usually me, and I've just been like, I just have not had any time because I actually have a life, the social life when I'm when I'm over the Christmas break, because I'm working and then I'm hanging out with friends that I don't see very often. So like tomorrow we're all renting ice time at a rink, and we're gonna go play some shinny, and it's gonna be really, really fun. Yeah, we rented like an hour of ice time, and we've got some pucks and some sticks and stuff, and we have no goalies though, so we'll see.
God, if only you knew someone who was a goalie.
Yeah. Start swimming, Marcie.
Yeah. Pack my little waterproof bag.
Yeah. But like also most of us have never played a game of hockey. Like have never played hockey before in an organized game format. So we'll see how this goes.
I mean, you never know. Like you could end up playing for the Leafs like this week if it goes well.
Yeah, if I learn how to play goalie real quick and strap on some pads, I think I'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. You never know who's watching.
Oh yeah, if there's a Leaf scout showing up to private rented ice in like rural Ontario, absolutely. Small town
Imagine
Ontario.
I just like start watching like the Ducks game. I start watching the Ducks game and I'm like, I've not seen this goalie before. Let me just like do some Googling, and it's just like, oh, it's Emma. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you have some things?
Yeah, I have very brief update. Ty Voigt he made his AHL debut for the Toronto Marlies on the 21st of December, and he also played his last game of the season on the 21st of December. I think it was 6 minutes into the game, I think he fell or was pushed, or there was like...
He fell into the boards at least.
He fell into the boards and left not looking too happy about his shoulder. We didn't really hear anything about it until I think a few days later, when it was like he was seen at practice in a sling just watching. And it was announced today that he's having season-ending shoulder surgery. So he's played his last game of the season.
Which is really unfortunate for a guy who seems like a really hopeful Leafs prospect. Like, he was one of those guys where it's like he could come in, fill maybe a depth role for the team, and
yeah, like where he's played in the ECHL, he's played 5 games so far this season, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points.
Which is a good run.
Which is really good, really promising. And it sucks that he battled a lot of injuries just like in the last few years. And it really sucks because like imagine like if he's doing all this after and during like dealing with all these injuries, imagine where he could be now.
Yeah, for sure. Like think about where his development could be, for sure.
So it's a shame because I really enjoy watching him play.
Yeah.
And you know what? He had the first 6 minutes of his AHL debut were really good. And that's what like
That's what like
upsets
this
me the
gets.
most.
It's like, it's a what if situation that, unfortunately with sports, like you can't really spend too much time
Yeah. But
dwelling on.
on the bright side, that there's no information on like the specifics of what the injury is, but the aim is to have him, and he's expected to be back in time for training camp.
That's really good.
So that's good, because that kind of means like he'll recover and they'll just
And
start
you'll have
working.
a summer, and you'll have a summer.
Yeah, he'll have the summer to get back up to speed. But yeah, that's my little sad typhoid news that I was quite upset about when I read that this morning.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Anything else?
No, I know we've got
some questions too.
Yeah, we've got some questions, and I would also just like to say, because I know every once a week we send this to each other, but Joseph Wall is still the 14th best goalie in the NHL heading into 2024, and he's not played since the 8th of December, which says a lot.
Go to the 2024 All-Star game if he's healthy.
Yeah. Hey, Joseph. Hey, cool. Hey, go.
Like, anyways, it just shows how amazing he was in this, like the start of his season was. That the fact that he is still the 14th best goalie heading into the new year, and he has not played in 2 months.
It's
So
again, he's not real. I can't believe we're approaching a month since that happened.
Yeah, a month. Did I say 2? I mean, yeah, he hasn't not played in almost a month. You got anything else to add? We have some questions.
Yeah, I think we can probably go on to the questions.
Oh, you did have something. You have something in here about Zach Sullivan.
Yes. That was hidden. Yeah, a bit of fun news, just because I like my fun little news stories. Zach Sullivan played his 500 Elite League game. For everyone that doesn't know, the Elite League is like the UK's top ice hockey league.
Top pro league.
It's a top pro league. Woo! Yeah, Zach Sullivan played his 500 Elite League game, which is a big achievement for anyone. But because it's me, there's always a twist. He is the first openly bisexual hockey player in the Elite League, and he plays for my local team. So it's a big day for gay people whenever I turn up.
Yeah, we did mention him, I think probably in one of the first episodes of the podcast.
Yeah.
Just brought him up a little bit, but yeah, so congrats to Zach Sullivan on a long tenured career in the EIHL.
Unfortunately, it wasn't the result we were looking for, because as of late, they've not
been great, but
they've not had the best time. But you know what? I don't care what the score was, because we have an openly bisexual player, so we can lose and we're still winning.
All right. Question time. I did yesterday I tweeted out on the podcast from our podcast Twitter. If you don't follow it already, you really should. It's a great follow. It's at From the Fourth Line. Fourth spelt with the number 4th. I just said drop any questions that you have below. Let's read this one. We got one that's, here we go. Someone was asking about us to talk a little bit about the PWHL. So obviously the PWHL played their first game in their inaugural season yesterday. It was New York versus Toronto in Toronto. New York in true, well, I don't want to say, I guess Toronto in true Toronto fashion lost was shut out 4-0. I have 4-0 written down. I want to make sure that's right. 4-0.
It wouldn't be Toronto Sports if not.
Yeah, of course. At least, but yeah. So, by New York, the second game of the season is tonight at 7. It's Ottawa versus Montreal in Ottawa. We'll be watching, supporting. Yes. I've kind of said like, oh, I'll be a fan of Ottawa and I'll support Ottawa. And a lot of people are like, why not Toronto? Especially because you're from Toronto. I'm like, yeah, but also I live in Ottawa. Going like, I'll support Ottawa. But also Ottawa seems to have a slightly better team than Toronto this year. I think Toronto. I don't know. There's something like, I just think Toronto doesn't have a great team this season. So, a couple things to note among the rules, though, because PWHL released their rule book yesterday. They're going a couple different things from the NHL. One of them is they're implementing the 3-2-1-0 point system, which is the same point system that's in place at any IIHF tournaments. So same point system that the World Juniors, which is currently on, is running under. They also implemented a rule in which a shorthanded goal that is scored by the team on the penalty kill kills the penalty. So I think it definitely will have an impact on the way that teams approach a power play or approach, a penalty kill. It, definitely will probably promote to play more offensive penalty kill, which will be really fun. We'll see how it works out. We haven't really seen it in place yet, but I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I think it's different. I think, that's pretty cool. But yeah, our thoughts on the PWHL. I'm so excited.
I got so emotional.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was sat and I was like, why am I about to cry? Because it's like,
I was only able to watch a little bit of the game just because I had Simon up, so we were skiing. But like, it was just one of those things where it's like, it's special. It's really special. It's not, of course, obviously it's not the first professional, like pro women's hockey league that has existed in North America. We're not going to erase that history that has been put in place by previous leagues. But it's definitely the first one that I feel like has been so widely covered in terms of by TV broadcasters. Like, this game is available on TSN, like either on TSN or Sportsnet. Is not geo-blocked, by the way, either. It's also Bally Sports is also doing some of the broadcasts, and then MESN, the broadcaster for the Rangers, is doing the New York team broadcast, and then there's also a regional broadcast that does the Boston Bruins games. I just don't remember the acronyms. I'm sorry, I don't watch American hockey broadcast, but the Boston Bruins broadcast, whoever broadcasts those games is also broadcasting the Team Boston's. Again, this is why these teams should have names, though. I think it's really great. Like these teams need to have names. Is doing their broadcast. And then also, if you live outside of North America or any of these geographical regions and you want to watch any PWHL game, you can watch them live streamed on YouTube for free.
Which I think it's amazing, because it means I can actually
watch the game
to the stats rather than
you can. There's also chat and stuff as well. Like there's a live stream chat along with the games. It also allows a great way for fans. I think it's also just really cool. Like, you can see exactly how many people are watching each game. At least
there were 15,000 on the stream yesterday.
Yeah, you can see in part of how many people. Like, of course, you can't see the broadcast numbers and things like that, which right. But you can see a portion. You can be like, well, at least this many people were watching the game. Definitely more. Where
that's going to be, most of those people are from outside.
Yeah, people who don't have Europe. Or just outside of those geographical, the rest of the US and wherever, or people who just don't have cable TV. But I just it's great. I'm so excited. I think definitely I can't wait to watch this league grow. And I was talking about it because I was watching the little bit of the game with Simon yesterday. I was like, I can't wait. I know this maybe seems so far off, but I can't wait for the day where they're playing in their own arenas. They have dedicate, like, you know, it's to the level at, like, it's to the NHL level where they have their own dedicated arenas, or like at least like junior hockey level where they have their own dedicated arena. So it's their logo and their team name at center ice in the center ice graphic instead of whoever, like, because Ottawa plays in TD Place, which is the home of the Ottawa 67s. So, you know, it'll be the Ottawa 67s logo at center ice, but like I can't wait for the day where it's their logo and their team name at center ice.
Yeah, it's,
and you get all emotional and you're like, oh,
and I'm sat there are tears in my eyes right now. I'm sat and I'm like, are we gonna get my first breakdown mid podcast?
Like, of course, obviously you can have criticism. Like, I'm not going to say nothing is without criticism. There's definitely has been criticisms in the way the league has been, not, I don't want to say promoted, but just like erasing the history of previous professional women's hockey leagues. I think also definitely the merch rollout has been a little bit problematic as well, because you can actually get like arena exclusive merch that you can't buy online, that's different than what's available online, that looks really, really nice. Like, I saw people sporting hoodies that you can buy in the arena that are like a hoodie version, not hoodie version exactly of the jersey. It's not like the jersey hoodies, but it's like, it's in the same design where it has like Toronto going diagonally across the chest, but like in the colors, and they look really, really nice. And I saw fans on the in the broadcast wearing them, and I was like, why can't we get these available online? Also, would love all of the like the hoodies and the sweatshirts that the players have been wearing in like team campus. Like I've seen, there's been a couple of NHL teams that have been posting pictures and stuff. Like the Leafs posted a picture of their leadership for wearing these really nice hoodies that are like embroidered with PWHL Toronto. I want one of those. And then there was also one where, because for Boston, they had Patrice Bergeron come out to announce the captains for their team, and he was wearing a really nice T-shirt that looked so nice color. It was such a nice color, where I was like, kind of wish Ottawa didn't have just red, because all of Ottawa's teams have red, but it's fine. I'm fine. But it's like, it's the thing where it's like, I would love that, because it's a little bit more like you actually know what the merch is for compared to the merch that's on.
Yeah, it's like it's league specific rather than just
like PWHL, like, and then city name, whatever, right? Like if that's such a great way to grow it, because if you're wearing that and someone's like, hey, like, what's the PWHL? And you're like, well, it's a professional women's hockey league. It's great. Like, it's new, whatever. And it's a great way to grow the league and have more people pay attention and be like, oh, I didn't know that was like a thing. That was like, that's a thing now. That's so cool. I'm going to go watch a game. Like, when are the games? And you can be like, well, here you go. Here's their schedule. Like, they play here. Like, but again, nothing's without, I do think it's really great. It's really exciting, especially, you know, giving a focus to having women in sports is always fantastic. For sure. And I think it's really great.
Because I was just like, because I was, obviously you always get the lovely people on Twitter who are basically like, oh, why is everyone like making such a big deal about it? Oh, like it's not even that good. I just want to say, when I've got this written down.
Oh, okay.
I was like, when you're younger and when you're like kids, like this has happened to probably every single woman ever. But it's like when I was younger and it's like I was with some of my cousins or something, and then I think it must have been like an uncle or something was like, oh, like what do you guys want to be when you're older? He said he wanted to be a footballer, which is what 99% of 7-year-old boys in England will say. Everyone wants to be a footballer.
Well, it's the same. Like, you walk into pretty much any elementary school classroom and you ask the boys in there, what do you want to be when they grow up? I'm going to guarantee you about 75% of them will say, I want to be a professional hockey player when I grow up. Any classroom in Canada, like any elementary classroom. Anyways.
Yeah, like, and then, so it's like, he was like, oh, I want to be a footballer. And then I think at that point I did want to be a footballer because I used to play. So then I was like, I want to be a footballer too. And it, like, when he said he wanted to be a footballer, it was like, oh yeah, you get there one day. Like, you've got this. Do you know what? 8-year-old me was told to be more realistic in front of my cousin, who was told, yeah, cool, that's great. So I just want to say that this is why we need professional women's leagues.
Yeah,
And this is why it's
exactly. Like,
important for them to be as big as the PWHL is.
because it's also a way where you get to keep women in sport and participating in sport and girls in sport for longer. Like, there's such, and it's something that I've noticed as someone who has grown up doing sports and then has gone on to coach different sports at different ages. There's such a huge drop off of girls participating in sports around the age of 13. And I think, some of that is due to other, but part of that is because, there isn't really a future in doing it at a high professional level for many sports. Like, yes, there is still sports that, have that option, but like, again, I'm going to say Canada, like hockey's huge in Canada. We can't ignore that fact, but it's like, especially as well, like, there's never been that option of like, oh, after, you finish with university or you finish with college or, you finish, there's not really any way to continue playing hockey besides representing your country at the national level. Again, that's only also one team for all of Canada as well.
Yes.
And also as well, you don't make money. Like in Canada, Canada doesn't fund their sports teams in the same way, whereas like most athletes who represent Canada at a national level also have to work jobs besides just doing their sport. Like their sport can't be their job. They have another job. So I think, definitely like having a professional league that seems like it's going to be really solidified and have success and is having this whole support is a huge thing for sure.
Yeah, because it's like how you said, like a lot of girls stop playing around like the age of 13. It's like I think for the entire time I played football, I played on the boys team because there wasn't a girls team, because I think for the 6 or 7 years that I played, I had a grand total of 3 other girls for the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when I hit 13, they were like, yeah, you kind of like can't play on the boys teams anymore. So I just had to stop, which was fun.
Yeah. I was looking up, like I played house league soccer. So like not like at any like high level.
Yeah.
But I played house league soccer for a long time growing up.
Baked or mashed?
Mashed. Potatoes. Potatoes.
Good choice.
But I played soccer for a long time growing up, and I was always lucky enough because again, I like grew up in Toronto, which is a big city, so obviously it has its perks in terms of, things like this where it's like I had the option, like there was a girls' house league, right? Like, and I was playing against girls and playing with girls, like it was a girls' league, and it's one of those things where it's like I never had to experience playing on the boys' team of any team sports because soccer was the only team sport that I did. Besides the couple years of T-ball that I did before they switched us to rookie ball, and I was too scared of the machine throwing balls at you, so I started playing soccer. So that was more of like a co-ed team where it's like you would have a couple girls and you would have, you'd be playing with some boys too. But like I grew up ski racing, like that was always my sport doing that I did growing up. And we're a co-ed team, but it's like a thing where it's always like and it's always dependent on like ages and the year that you were born and whatever, but like there was never really more than like 4 other girls that I would be racing with on my team. Like usually like it's always like there's been me and 2 other girls, and we've always been like the ones, and we've been the consistent ones through like my entire you're racing, whereas like I've always raced with you two, and like that's just always the way it's been. But again, that's so it's like I get it. Like I'm familiar with like hanging out with guys and having to keep up with them and beat them and be faster than them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like they're all like, especially like on like the football team, because it's like since then I've only played on one other mixed sport team, which is my university softball team, which was it's an experience and not one that anyone should have to suffer through. But it's like you had like everyone was like, oh, would you really want to play in a boys team? Like, will you not be at a disadvantage because they're all bigger and stronger than you? And I'm like, first of all, I could very easily run every single person on this team into the ground. And the reason I know for a fact that I could have done that is because I had to be better than every other person on that team. And I still didn't get any of the respect that I deserved.
Yeah, for sure. And like also at the same time, like I do just want to say women's hockey is not just for little girls who want to dream big. It's for anyone who wants to be a fan of sports. Like
yes.
It's great. There's no different between watch it. Like it's like saying that the NHL is for, boys who want to become hockey players. That's not true.
Yeah, it's like I'm not a boy who wants to become a hockey player, and I think you could probably class me as a fan.
What gave it away? The fact that we have a podcast?
Yeah, just a little bit of a fan.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Another question as well. We had a question about our podcast our English. Okay, our podcast goals for 2024, as well as some 2024 predictions in the NHL/pop culture. Podcast goals for 2024. Definitely we want to try. I don't know, like this is one of the things where it's like we want to dream so big, but it's like I would love to get a player on the podcast.
Oh my, yes.
I would love
that's like the one thing I do want to do this year.
Whether it's former or current NHL player, like I would not even like AHL player, whatever. I would love to get like a professional hockey player.
Right. I just need to note something down to tell you after this.
So, that's one of the things. Like, again, if you are a professional hockey player listening to this, hi, thank you. Email us. We have an email. Send us a DM on Twitter.
Drop us an email, please.
We would love to interview you. And do that. That would be so great. We definitely have like a dream list of players we would love to interview. But we're not gonna manifest that too highly because
no. I also I think we need to, and this is we need to free agency.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, we're gonna do some free agency coverage. Again, we'll probably figure out a way to do some sort of live stream. I think.
Yeah, that would be.
I think we'll do a live stream. That's a goal for us as well. Do a live coverage of our reactions live to free agency. And I'm trying to think of like other things that we want to do. Just grow the podcast. Like,
yeah,
we don't have any like numbers that we want to hit, but we do like
we want
more people. Show friends.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have anything that you wanted to say about goals and stuff for the show.
It's less. This is like less of a goal and more of a. I'll be happy when it happens. The podcast surviving the off season.
Yeah, we haven't really figured out what we're gonna do for the off season. We probably will take a little bit of a break.
Just like a Joseph will watch.
Just like we'll probably take a little bit of break, reduce the number of episodes that we do per week, probably because there's no hockey to cover. But definitely.
Yeah. I think because if we did like 2 episodes a week during off season, it'd be like wow, like William Nylander spotted wearing a tank top, fork found in kitchen.
Wow, William Nylander sported wearing a white tank top and pants that cost more than a year of my tuition. Fork found in kitchen. Those $10,000 pants. 22. Do you have any predictions for the NHL within the next year?
Ooh.
I don't want to like I feel like we should, I don't know. I kind of want to stay away from like Stanley Cup predictions because like who knows? Who knows?
I will predict that Joseph Woll comes back from this injury and his first game back he gets a shout.
Okay. Woo!
And another prediction / hope and dream. He's back for that February 19th game and he gets a shout. He gets a shout in front of his family.
Yeah. Love that. What when am I 24? I think, you know what? This is, I don't know how wild this is, but on the terms of free agency, I think this might be the craziest free agency season we've had in
it's got the vibes of it's cooking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It feels like, even when you just think about it, it's like it feels like
different. Like
it's gonna explode.
It's like absolutely, like I don't know if we'll have like a crazy trade season because like we're starting to like heat into the trade deadline is at the start of March, and you know there were, you know, last year I felt like last year there was more trades than there are this year so far, but I think definitely free agency will be crazy, and I think that's my prediction. I don't have anything like I don't know. I don't want to like I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm like, is there gonna be like any like weird like players will start dating who? I don't know. I feel like you can't, but yeah. Also as well, we have one asking if we could go through and rank the Leafs from best to worst dressed. Why don't we give our top and bottom 5 instead of going through the entire roster? Or top or bottom 3?
I'll do top and bottom 3.
3, top and bottom 3.
Right.
Okay.
I've got, like
well, I know this is something where I was like, I should have written this down beforehand. I would have knew this question was coming too. Okay.
I'm just like scribbling.
I know, I'm scrolling through. Okay. I mean, I feel like there's not like you know, like noticeably bad dressers, but like
I'm
trying to because I don't know if it's just bad dresser, if it's just like a couple of guys just own bad suits.
Yeah.
Okay, I hate to do this to him actually.
Oh.
Matthew Nyes is in my bottom 3.
See, I have
sorry, like I hate to do this to him, but it's like the combination of like that one suit that doesn't fit him and also the fact that he went to the Leafs holiday party in a hoodie. Like not even like a nice, it was like one of those like really thin weird hoodies that I'm like, it's so thin that it's basically just a shirt with a hood.
Yeah, I have Matthew Nyes down on both. I have when the suit fits.
when the suit fits.
And when he's not mixing patterns.
He's not mixing patterns. Yeah, he does like to mix patterns.
But when he's not doing that, he's in my top 3.
But that's like, I'm like, sometimes he has a good one, sometimes he has like a bad one. I don't know if there's necessary like, but like I don't know if there's, again, I'm like also like thinking, I'm like, I don't know if there's if they're bad dressers or just if there's like they own bad suits.
Tyler Bertuzzi is on my bottom 3.
Actually, you know what? I agree. He's a little bit of a wacky dresser. I'm just looking at this one of him in this really weird plaid purple coat.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. He makes really bold choices.
They don't work.
Someone needs to tell him that he doesn't have to. Like, sometimes it's okay to just dress in a normal suit.
Is it bad if I put Jake McCabe in my bottom 3? Not just in terms of the fact that it's bad, it's just boring.
No, he is very bland in his...
Like, I'm like, I guess it's fine, but it's boring.
Yeah.
You know who we haven't said anybody in our top 3, and I'm gonna say it in my top 3. Underrated top 3. I don't know if he will make my honorable mention. Underrated, David Kampf. Yes. Solid dresser. He has some really good suits. Underrated. I think people...
Yeah. My top 3 is, this is in no particular order, apart from Matthew and I's being at number 3, with just in brackets, when the suit fits. I have Joseph Wall.
Okay.
Right.
But
in brackets, not with the blue shoes.
I was gonna say, I was like, there's a caveat here. Those blue shoes, those blue suede loafers are awful. And we haven't seen them yet this season. No. Small sample size. Small sample size, but
yeah, I hope we still never. But yeah, that green suit, he's won it twice.
Oh, I love that green suit. There's Noah Gregor also owns a similar green suit that I love just as much. So maybe I just like them in green. Maybe I just fan of the green suit.
Who knows?
William Nylander. He's in my top 3.
I've got William Nylander.
I'm looking at the picture, the new teal one that he was like from December. I'm trying to think. I'm like, because like the obvious answer would be Matthews.
You see, I'm about to say something controversial.
Are you about to say that he's a bad dresser?
I'm not saying he's a bad dresser, but a lot of the time,
it's boring. It's boring.
Get it?
Like, there's a couple suits that I'm like, I get it. Like that blue plaid one that he wore the other night. I liked that one. That one.
The one I'm literally looking at right now.
that one was nice.
You know who else gets to go in my bottom 3 because I've only listed 2?
Who?
Mitch Marner when he brings the fucking hats out.
What about his road suit?
And yeah.
There's been a couple this year where I'm like, Mitch, what are you wearing? One of them was for the last game. That weird. No, okay, no, not the hat. It was the game before. There was a couple. It was a weird like bomber jacket.
I hated that so much.
Oh yeah, so it was not. It was like it was not last game. It was the next gen game against Ottawa. So like 2 games ago, he had that bomber jacket, like the gray plaid bomber jacket with the blue suede spiky. Oh my god, those spikes! I thought I couldn't see the spikes. I thought they were Air Force Ones. I was like, where is this man finding blue suede Air Force Ones? And I can't decide if it's with the spikes or without the spikes is worse. They're like his all-star shoes from last.
My question is, what is it with the Leafs and just really horrific blue shoes?
Yeah. No, anyways, not a fan of this. Steph, if you're listening to this,
first of all, thank you. We love you.
Love you, Steph, but also
help the man out.
Help the man out.
I'm gonna Timothy Liljegren.
Oh my god, I love Timothy.
Dresser.
Underrated dresser. The Swedes in general, fantastic. Because we can't also not talk about Calle Yarncroke. Calle. And also, I don't know if this is just because I get distracted because he always has his like top 3 buttons undone, or if he actually is a good dresser. But TJ Brody.
I feel like a little farm boy.
But I'm like trying to figure out if it's just me getting distracted because he has like his top 3 buttons undone. Bobby
No.
McMahon also owns some nice suits as well.
Bobby McMahon is a nice dresser.
Like, I can't decide if it's anyway. Like, I'm trying to figure this out. But yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. I like can't for the life of me figure it out if that's why I get distracted. Like, if I'm getting
the reason I get distracted.
I'm like, if I'm
No, like personally, this is one of my favorite Timothy Lilligren looks, and it's literally just the black suit.
because it's so nice. It's such.
Oh, it fits so well.
It fits. So maybe it is just the fact that it's like if you
And
own a nice suit.
he wears boots as well. I've noticed he wears boots, which I love.
Because like some people are against the sneakers. I personally am a big sneaker person when it comes to matching it with like business wear. Because I hate wearing high heels or dress shoes in any form. So when I go to work, I wear a nice pair of sneakers. So I appreciate that. But like also they have to be a nice pair of sneakers. Like I have a nice clean pair of Reebok C85, like C Club 85s.
Nice.
And you're looking up what they look like, right?
No, I've still got like my notes open on half my screen.
But
so I don't really need them anymore.
But yeah, so I appreciate a nice sneaker. Sometimes there's some bad sneakers.
And usually they are on the feet of Mitch Marner.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if we actually gave a solid ranking or if we just started waffling off our opinions on
we just
the dressers.
Best and worst dressed.
Yeah. Bobby McMahon owns some nice suits. He's a big toque guy, though.
And you know what? It works.
It works.
I do respect it.
It works. Yeah, so that was all we had for questions. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think that's all we have to say. I mean, there was also a question from Cal asking about when Cal could be on the podcast. That's coming
soon.
That's coming soon.
You have to start listening to us first, Cal.
Yeah. Cal's not gonna hear this because he doesn't listen.
He's not. One day.
Like
6 months, and he'll be like, "Oh my god, guys, I listened to like episode 12 of the podcast. Like, I want to be on I want to be a guest." And I'm like, "That was in fucking January."
Yeah, so it is January. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like, do we have anything else to talk about? I'm like, I don't think we do.
No.
So, welcome. Good first show back. Back. I don't know. Back. We've been back for a while, but good first show of 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good first show.
It was a great first show. So thank you all for listening. As always, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. I actually do have to upload those files so that they can be on YouTube.
I'll get them.
Amazon Podcasts. But also you can follow both of us on Twitter. You can follow the show at Twitter at From the Fourth Line, and you can follow both of us on Twitter at 60 Leafs and at PairB1. Of course, always that information is always in the description. So, yeah. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Oh, bye. God.
Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go.